All right, we're trying to go live, Michael and I, from Montreal. We're actually at a hotel in downtown. Michael, you're on the phone, you're checking it. We are live indeed.
Yeah, we are live.
Check the audio to make sure that...
I'm going to share this now too as well.
All right, we're just double checking to see that we have good audio before we get started. And,
yes, we should.
Anyway,
we should.
So I came up to Canada for a couple of days. I was in Niagara Falls, then I went to Toronto, and then I came to Montreal, and Michael's only about 2 hours or an hour and a half away from Montreal, so he decided to drive up so we can hang out as well. So Andrew and I got to go live. It was brief. It was probably like 15 minutes last Saturday from his cabin up north Toronto. And then now that I have Michael in front of me, I figured we go live together, so that's fun.
Yes.
So we're live on Facebook, right? You can see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, this is great.
Check the audio.
Yep. Audio should be good.
All right, so we're good with audio. So, Michael, let's get started, right?
Yeah,
First of all, nice to see you,
good
bro.
to see you too, man.
How's everything, man?
We rarely get time to hang out and spend together.
Right.
And so you're all the way south of Miami. I'm up all the way north here in Burlington, Vermont.
That's right.
How's this trip been for you so far with family and stuff?
It's been awesome. Niagara Falls is spectacular. It's something that I think every American, even Canadian, should check out. The Canadian side of Niagara Falls.
Oh yeah, Canadian side is way better. I'm so glad you guys got to see the Canadian side. It was the Canadian side is such a beautiful, spectacular. Yeah, tell what did you do with your family there? What did you get?
No, so we just basically walked around the border where you can see both of the big falls.
That's great.
We took a little boat that takes you all the way within say maybe 20, 30 feet of the actual waterfall coming down. It was big force, air and water and noise. It was pretty spectacular.
And they have like arcades and stuff like that for kids,
so
or what?
There's a little city next to Niagara Falls, the actual park.
Yeah.
That has like little arcades and kids stuff. It's a tourist place.
Yeah.
For sure. But the kids had an absolute blast.
That's great.
So we went up. Then we went up to Toronto for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Stayed up with Andrew in his family's cabin, about 2 norths up. It's a lake house. We swim in the lake, something that we don't do in Florida.
Yeah.
We don't swim in lakes in Florida.
It's all ocean.
Well, it's just the problem is that lakes in Florida
have gators.
Have alligators, right? And they're not really nice to swim in.
That's funny.
So that was a nice experience for my family. And then we came down to Toronto, my first time in Toronto. Bought a hat. Spent about 3 days there. Toronto's an amazing city. Yeah. And then I drove all the way from Toronto to Ottawa, which was 5.5 hours. Felt longer. And then about 2 hours to Montreal today. So
and Toronto's still living off the high of winning the championship, probably.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody's a basketball fan all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. And the Blue Jay fans there is big fandom. Everybody wearing shirts. We happened to be at next to the stadium during a game, so you could really tell that city is really into the sports.
Well, my joke about the Toronto Raptors is I'm thankful that we could loan them American players to play for the NBA.
That's right. There's no Canadian players in Toronto Raptors team. Anyway, so we wanted to just come up with a strange topic. We started this, Andrew and I, talking about it, but we couldn't really finish it because we were a bit under the influence of alcohol at the cabin, so we had to end it quickly. But is there a reason why business ideas and innovation does happen also while you're on vacation?
Right.
Even if you're not thinking about work,
you're
with the kids, you're thinking about business ideas, and I thought of this. I think it's a great idea. And if you want me to share it,
all of us always think the idea we have is probably a great idea. Yeah. Definitely share that tonight.
Well, I know for sure that I'm not going to do anything about it. So
someone else can steal it, right?
So I'll share it. So if somebody thinks it's good, do it.
Just send a royalty check to Hector if you get big.
All right. So I was driving from Toronto to Ottawa. Very long drive. Boring from me that I didn't know what I was looking at.
Right.
I was passing all these little towns, and none of them were called Springfield or something Falls or Springs like in America. Right. They all had these really cool little names.
Right.
One was called Thousand Islands. One was called Pickering. One was called Port Hope.
Right.
Bay of Quinte. All these towns. I was driving like, man, I wonder if I should pull over and check it out.
Yeah.
So I felt I potentially missed so much because I didn't know.
Wow, you just gave me the app idea you're probably thinking of.
Right. So the app idea I was thinking is an app that you play, obviously GPS.
Yes.
activated, and basically narrates with you everything that's going on around you.
Oh my gosh!
So it says you're passing the Bay of Quinte. It was founded in so much population. Hotels are popular because of XYZ. So it would have been cool for me to kind of understand, a lot about Canada during a 5-hour drive instead of listening to like radio.
And just like Google Maps or Apple Maps, it tells you turn this way in 5 miles or whatever it is. Turn right, get off exit, whatever. Instead, it can give you suggestions. And one of the things Google Maps does right now is to give you a suggestion of, oh, your route, if you take this thing, it'll go faster. Do you want to?
Right. But I really don't want that. I want the scenic route.
Now you want the scenic route.
Right.
And then also, you would love the map to say, hey, 2 miles ahead is a famous tourist stop.
Exactly.
Would you like to stop with your family?
That's exactly it. Right.
That is an amazing idea. That is a great idea.
So me and my wife were talking about it. It's like, okay, well, a couple problems.
Right.
So number one, how do you monetize it?
Right.
Right. So I was thinking that's not that difficult.
No.
If you're a little hotel in one of those towns, you want
to be on that.
You want to be the one that sponsors the exit.
Yes.
Right. So that's easy.
That's easy.
But the other one is how do you develop such a massive thing?
Right.
So I was thinking, maybe you just take some sort of artificial intelligence algorithm that reads the stuff off of Wikipedia.
Yes.
Right.
And then it picks stuff off of Google Maps. That's know it's already there.
And then maybe picks it off of Yelp or maybe.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I was thinking also if you do a Google Map search, you see where people take pictures and they post them with geotag.
Yes.
If there's a place where a lot of people take pictures.
Yeah.
The ones that they post online, they're geotagged. It'll tell you, hey, a lot of people take pictures. And
right. It must be popular.
It must be popular.
Right.
There must be something interesting.
Right.
So I think it's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
I don't want to do anything about it. It had nothing to do with it.
I would love that. And it's funny. You came up with the idea, and often you come up with new ideas when you're experiencing something, and either there's boredom involved or there's friction. Right?
Friction, right.
It's friction or boredom. In this sense, you were bored. Right. It's not that there was friction. You knew where you were going. But in this sense, you were bored and you want to solve the boredom.
Right.
And so you obviously are driving. You're literally driving. You can't really solve it and be safe. You'd like your spouse to try to solve it and be safe. And I guess she could have.
Correct.
She could have picked up Wikipedia and just randomly searched these places. But it's such a manual process.
And it moves so fast.
Yes, you move so fast.
And then you have to read the ratings to see if you're reading something worth looking at.
Yes.
I mean, it's so many moving parts.
Right. And you would have added another 30 minutes. 45 minutes to
an
your
hour
day, an hour, just if you could get one more experience for your kids or for your family on that trip. That is a brilliant idea.
I think one of the reasons why you're mentioning friction specifically is because of Transactions 3.0.
Correct.
Right, which is a book that you just finished.
Yes.
Right. So it's a book that's all about. I recommended it.
Yeah. Yes.
It's all about how the economy,
the new economy, the sharing economy, all those things. Yeah.
But how the most successful companies are the ones that reduce transaction costs or reduce friction. But there's an opposite idea from Rory. You want to show the book?
Yeah,
it's actually from this book.
Yep.
Called Alchemy, which I'm about halfway done. I gifted one to Mike because I think he's gonna like it. And he actually talks about that not all the friction, it has to be a time saver.
Correct.
Like we think it's all about time savings or it's all about optimizing. He says the example that their train, let's say a train from London to Liverpool, right? Let's say the train is 6 hours, 7 hours, and they're spending billions of dollars figuring out how to make it go faster to reduce the friction of time. But he argues that you can spend a fraction of that by just making it more pleasant to be in it.
Right.
So more comfortable chairs. TVs, maybe you sell drinks.
Coffee access, right.
Maybe you sell drinks. And he makes a joke saying maybe everybody that works there is really good looking.
Yeah. And then people want to be on it longer, actually. Right.
So it's the idea, and when you think about that and friction, not everything about business is making it faster, making it better.
Correct.
Sometimes a slower trip, scenic route, something that would make me feel that I took advantage of it might be more meaningful to me. So that's that. Obviously reading those two books.
That's great.
Right before coming here, messed up with my head. And the other thing I thought that was kind of interesting, in the road from Toronto to Ottawa, there was one street that had speeding ticket fines posted.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So
it was transparent.
But it had three options. So it says 20 kilometers over the speed limit, $120
it told
fine.
You these numbers.
$30 over the speed limit, $200 fine. Whatever, 40 kilometers over the speed limit, $300 fine. We thought that was just particularly interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really, really, really great. No, so I think I know why. Why do these ideas come on vacation? Well, there's experiences where you get bored, but it's also the fact that you are outside of your comfort zone when traveling, especially if you're traveling in another culture or a foreign land, a land that is strange to you.
Right.
And so one of the reasons I like actually coming up to Montreal, one, it's a 90-minute drive for us as a family, but also when you're walking around, and I was experiencing this morning, was walking around with my boys. I was taking them to the local movie theater here to watch Toy Story 4. On the way, I literally thought I heard 5 to 10 different languages. It's being spoken by different people. And
in Montreal.
In Montreal.
Okay,
just walking downtown. And there's signs both in French and in English, right?
Mostly French.
Yeah, mostly French, exactly.
Right.
And you go to the restaurant, you're trying to order something, the menu's in French. You don't know if the person at the register knows clearly English and what it's going to say back to you. So it makes you think about, it puts you out of this comfort zone and actually starts making you think about things a little differently. Your life, about your world, about that your world isn't as small as you think it is. Right? It is a lot bigger. And your business, maybe it could be bigger. It's not as small as you think it is. I think we get so comfortable with the limits we put on our business, on ourselves, and our families. And one of the reasons you probably brought your family up was to give them a different experience. Right. You could have gone anywhere with your family and spent thousands of dollars on a vacation, but you came to Canada. Right?
No, I'm spending thousands of dollars.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. So.
You mean thousands less?
Yeah, maybe thousands less. Right. Yeah. Maybe the exchange rate is helping you out. I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Canada, a great place to come.
Yes.
You get 75 cents on the dollar here for everything. Although everything's 25% more expensive. So.
Right.
It's a wash.
Yeah. So so that's one of the reasons why I come is it's so close, but also the variety of food, the variety of culture, get you outside of your comfort zone and helps you think about the different ways you can view and look at your business, your family, yourself. That's why I love coming up here and bringing my kids. And one of the things I am learning is that.
So you do come here often?
I do come here, at least 3-4 times a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at least. And so it's so accessible for me.
Right.
But yeah, so I think, your idea of a travel app, observing situations in which you wanted your experience to be better.
Right.
Not for it to be less time, like you said, your experience to be better.
Right.
So if we were to think about that with our customers right now,
right,
what would those things be? What would those questions be? I think most of our customers in accounting or bookkeeping customers that we have, I think most of them would love a better experience.
That's for sure.
They would love a better experience, right? And every time you just give a little more better experience, it goes a long way right now.
That's right.
In regards to being able to price them higher, but also their loyalty to you, and it adjusts their perception or view of accountants or the industry. So what's an example of something where you actually thought about that?
Well, I'll tell you.
Changed it. Yeah.
I mentioned it when I was with Andrew last week. I don't know if you got a chance to catch the whole conversation, but I was in this hotel, which is basically a big water park with rooms. So the hotel is really kind of crappy. Really, it's like a 3-star, but the water park is incredible.
Right.
And I think they know their hotel sucks. I think they know that.
Right.
The hotel is just low quality, but the water park is great. And it's like $400 Canadian, right, a night, which is also incredibly expensive.
Wow.
So if you're not using the water park, it's really kind of a waste. But one thing I noticed, and it got me thinking, is every time I went down the slide, again, it's a repeat if you watched last week, every time I went down the slide, you basically submerge right when the slide happens and you come right up. There was always an employee there to kind of help you walk out, tell you, okay, this is where the tube goes and this is where you step out, just in case you're a bit disoriented. But in every single time, they asked me, they looked at my face and said, how was it?
Oh, wow.
They don't need to do that.
They don't need to do that.
They don't need to do that.
Right.
They don't need to do that. But they said it with a smile. They said it. So in a way, there might be a culture of empathy where they want to see if you liked it.
Yep.
But I think it goes deeper than that. I think it's to reinforce that you are having fun, reinforce that it's not $400 per night in a hotel. It's the whole experience that includes the water park. And that's the one thing. That's the one thing that it just got me thinking of saying, what are those little interactions where you ask our version of how was it? Yeah. I talk to my customers all the time, and basically I say goodbye, and hey, goodbye. You know,
Yeah.
I don't ask for immediate feedback, or at least if I know that they like it, to remind them that they liked it.
Right.
You know, so I don't know what that looks like yet. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that got
No,
me thinking
one of
of
the
it.
things I immediately thought about is the few times I've gone to a Chick-fil-A, the
Yeah.
experience in a Chick-fil-A, it's like it's not fast food. It's
No, it's
like
not.
they put themselves in a completely different category.
That's true.
And what you expect when you walk to a Chick-fil-A, you expect you expect the same experience from any other fast food place. You go to a Chick-fil-A, and it's like you went to a high-end restaurant.
That's right.
They're somehow training, lower paid fast food staff to treat you like they are concierge hotel employees.
That's right.
And they are dedicated to making your experience so great. And that's the thing I keep thinking about is how to do that in our practices with our customers.
On Chick-fil-A specifically, I read an article that said that a lot of McDonald's franchisees were complaining about McDonald's not doing enough to stop a Chick-fil-A from building or establishing close. Because when McDonald's is a prime real estate,
Right.
so you usually negotiate with the city or negotiate with the owner of the commercial area to prohibit another fast food type of place to come in there, and because there was a significant decrease in sales.
Oh, wow.
Because Chick-fil-A takes a lot from McDonald's, and a Chick-fil-A in average within, I think it's a 5-mile range of a McDonald's, will sell more than a McDonald's,
Right.
even with Sunday closing.
Wow. Right.
Even with Sunday closing, and I did realize that every time I go to Chick-fil-A, there's one next to my house, so I go there quite a bit. Basically, solves for a lot of. They always say thank you, and they look at you in the eyes, and it's a little thing.
Right.
You can argue it's free.
Right.
Doesn't
They
cost
don't
them-
have to do that.
I mean,
necessarily. Right.
there's an expense
Right.
to training the staff and monitoring them, and make sure that it's being executed.
Right.
There's a cost to that.
Right.
Maybe
Holding that staff accountable to do it as well.
not in the
follow through.
P&L,
Right.
but there's just a emotional or training cost. But the impact to that, the ROI is astronomical.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and I had this experience recently. I emailed. We do this often when I'm doing a renewal on a contract, especially when I'm trying to either do a small increase on pricing or a significant increase on pricing. The first thing I'll do is reach out to the customer by email, and I'll ask, hey, can you give me some feedback? I'm reviewing your contract. Can you give me some feedback on your experience so far with Reconciled? And how it's been before I present them anything.
Before you present them the price increase.
Yes.
Do they know that after that answer comes a price increase conversation?
No. They don't know
okay,
anything.
okay.
I'm just asking. I do tell them that I'm doing a review on their contract.
Okay, yeah,
I do
okay.
say that, right?
Right.
And so
in the future,
right.
So starting January of next year, we'll have a change.
Exactly.
And in July, you have this conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I'll say, I just did this a few weeks ago, and I said, hey, I've got a July renewal for you. I'm reviewing your contract. I'd love to know about your experience and how we can make it better, what we can improve, and what it's been like with the bookkeeper we've assigned to you. And I got some amazing feedback from a client who absolutely loves the bookkeeper they're working with.
So they were happy.
They were very happy, and they were very specific about what she's done very well, right? And
you don't think because a renewal conversation or price increase conversation was coming up, they didn't feel that they might be shooting themselves in the foot, or
no,
or
I don't think.
It's the way you framed it.
I don't think so. I also asked them. I'd love to get feedback on how we can make it better. Right?
Okay,
how can we make it better?
okay.
And oftentimes customers, when we ask that, they actually don't provide a whole lot of answers to help us.
Right. They don't know.
They don't know. And so, but they do provide great insight into how the bookkeeper working with them is serving their needs specifically.
Correct.
That wows them. And then I go to that employee specifically, and I share that with them and say, I just want you to know I got this amazing feedback, and this is, keep doing this to help you. And it really helps with that renewal conversation, obviously, later on.
Right.
There are a few times where I do get an improvement, or some constructive feedback, and I'm able to go back to the bookkeeper and have that conversation. And even then, even if I'm anticipating a price increase, I'll still do it.
Okay.
Let's do the price increase. To say, okay, and I'll tell the customer, I'm gonna take this feedback to my team.
I'm gonna fix it.
But also, I want to know what else can we do for you, and that's
Okay.
another great question to ask is, what else can we do for you to make you even more excited
Question.
to work with us.
Do they have to mention an else? Do they have to say, yes, the else you have to do is X, Y, Z? Do they have to enumerate a number of things in order for you to justify the price increase? Or could you do it even when they say, there's nothing you can do better, you're perfect?
No, they do not have to enumerate an else. Now, if they don't enumerate an else, and I'm going to do a price increase, I will explain why there's a price increase, right? So I'll say, hey, we haven't done a price increase in 2 years or 1 year,
right.
So it's a standard price increase. Or secondly, it would be, hey, by the way, I wanted to remind you, your business has significantly grown since we started.
Okay.
And here's how it's grown, either in revenue, transaction volume, expenses,
okay.
and talk to them about the amount of work that the amount of increased work that causes for our team. But
so
that we're
you
dedicated
do say
to that. Yeah, I do say
we
that.
are working more.
Yeah, we are working
Okay.
more. Now, I won't give specific metrics. I won't say
No.
we're working 25% more. I don't ever want to tie that to the price increase number.
Do they ever say stuff? Because I got some clients that are kind of slick.
Yeah,
they say,
yeah.
Yeah, it's more transactions, but
Right.
bank feeds picks up
Right,
80%
right,
of them
right.
because they're repeat transactions.
Yeah.
Or 80% of the customers is the same invoice over and over.
Right.
And it's easier to identify because you know that.
Yep.
A bookkeeper is like wine.
Yes.
Right? They do get better with time.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Right? Especially when they're stored in that perfect temperature with that client
Yes.
being aged.
Yes.
Because you're learning about the client.
Yeah,
you
and the
get
relationship's
patterns.
already there, and
Right.
the trust is there.
Right.
Right. And so, they do a few times, but then often I'm able to go back and have hey, let's get on the phone and talk. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying, but also I want to make sure that we have a conversation about the continued value we're providing you, and,
Right.
and the peace of mind. And so, most of the time after that conversation, a customer goes, "Oh, you're right. Like I've learned to trust you guys. You guys are doing great work. I don't want to be cheap, with you guys."
Right.
And so there you go. And then if a customer who, frankly, if I think they're underpaying for value, and I got them initially with an underpriced, I'll have a conversation with them and say, I don't know if you understand the value that we're providing, and I think there might be another provider that might be better suited
Now,
for you.
underpaying value because you priced it wrong, though, right?
Correct. Right. I priced it right now, so I'll admit, I was like, I think we underpriced
but then they're reluctant to a price increase.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Because that could happen. I mean,
Oh
that's,
yeah, easily. Yeah,
Right.
easily. So yeah, what other ways? What else have you done specifically with your customers to give them that experience of a better experience?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, and this is something that I've gotten gradually better over time, is just set the expectation
Right.
up front to say, like I have one client that when we picked them up, I detected that they could pay my fee, but they wanted to feel they had a discount of some sort. So the way I priced it was, I priced them for the whole year worth of services, and I broke down the 3 things that we're going to do.
Okay.
The on-site meetings, the one-on-one consulting, the phone support, or the optional email support. I gave them both options.
Great.
With a big price difference.
Okay.
So if they wanted phone support, that means they can call or they expect a call back. It was almost like $450 a month, in addition to everything else, versus just $100 a month for email.
Right.
So I just basically make sure that it would have been a significant price increase for them to do phone.
Right.
So they call me and they say, well, why is there a big difference? I say, look, I prefer that you save the money.
Right.
And if you can explain your questions via email and you're okay with an email answer, then pick that. I almost think I did it on purpose because I know phone would have been, in this particular client, emails me every day with a question.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what the phone would be like. Even if it's a 5-minute conversation, dropping everything to serve that client, it's very hard. That's why I made it really, really just a big price difference. So I think it's been a very successful client. So she paid for a whole year worth of services. She's been emailing me every day on QuickBooks.
That's great.
Right? And I think that maybe next year we'll change it a little bit, but it'll be better because she's been trained for a whole year.
Right.
But I think it's just setting the expectation, and I think price fixes a lot. So and it's best when they choose. Like she chose email support, right? That way she will never complain about not getting a phone call back or calling me and expecting me to answer, because she had the 2 choices. She had the phone and the email. So she does exploit the heck out of that
Yeah.
email though. When I went on vacation, she did email me the day I left,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
called her back and I said, hey, I'm gonna answer this one via voice because
Right.
I'm literally going off the grid.
Right.
And she's like, I understand.
That's great.
I'm gonna get my emails ready. When you come back, I'll have maybe 10
That's great.
10 days worth of emails. I said that's fine. So I think setting the expectation up front is really one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, that's
The other great thing you can do is just wow them with something they weren't expecting. That's a bit more difficult because of bandwidth, but what I do sometimes is, because I make myself very unavailable for people to just call me and talk to me, that when I happen to be driving from one customer to the next, I do call my good clients. Hey, I know you emailed me a couple of days ago and I answered.
Yeah.
I'm just calling you to see if the answer made sense, which is a big surprise to them.
Yeah, that's great.
Believe it or not, getting a phone call from me is a big surprise.
You're trying to actually
Right.
confirm if the experience you want them to have is
Right.
actually happening.
But
Right.
I have very limited time that I can call people.
Yes.
So I never tell people I will call them back with the answer. It's always email. But for my best clients, I always try to call them back in between just say, hey, did the email work? Did Jessica from my office answer the question?
Right.
Did it work when you worked with Alex? So I'll do that, sprinkle that, a couple phone calls here and there, because that's just really valuable.
Yeah. So this made me think about a question or a thought or comment is, we talked about how we help our customers experience pricing or have a better experience. I think about the state our customers in that affects their willingness to pay more money. So an example is this: we're both on vacation,
Right.
with our families, and before we come on a vacation, we're often thinking through, and it's different for everybody, but often we're a little price sensitive in the fact that you're trying to plan a vacation, you're trying to keep it under a certain budget. You
Right.
don't want to blow the wallet, blow the credit card bill, whatever it is.
You always do it, by the way.
You do end up doing
Yeah,
that.
always,
Yes.
yeah.
But what's funny is you do that while you're on the trip,
We're on the trip only.
because you look at the incremental spend
Correct.
to increase the experience, and you
Right.
justify it in your mind. So there's a state you're
I'm
in.
already here.
You're already here.
Right.
The state you're in is, I'm here. I may not come back to this place.
Right. Or I don't
Yeah.
have 30 minutes to waste looking for parking.
Yes.
I'm going to pay for the parking that's right here.
Yes, yes.
Which is like in downtown Montreal.
Yes. Or
it's like
you got,
really expensive.
You got 3-4 screaming kids. They're hungry. Okay, this restaurant is $1 more sign on Yelp than the other
it's got
one.
$4 signs in Yelp.
But it's got a seating right away, and
Right.
your kids are screaming.
Right.
You're willing to just spend it because the experience is better, and your kid, they have something to eat for your kids. So I think about that is the environment or the state your customer's in.
Changes their price
It
sensitivity.
changes their price sensitivity.
That's
And
right.
vacation's like the ultimate, right? Or a sporting event's the ultimate.
It's very interesting.
So
It's why you
what's-
pay for $12 popcorn at the movie theater.
Yes, yes, or why you pay so much more for a drink at certain bars than others, or certain restaurants than
Right.
others. So it'd be interesting to think about how can you either walk your customers into a state, not manipulating them.
All right.
Like when you stay at a hotel, they're not manipulating you. You're at a hotel.
That's a good
When
point.
you're at a game, or Toronto Raptors game, they're not manipulating you. You're at a game. They know you're at a game.
good
So
premise.
how
Yeah.
could you bring what experience or what place could you actually affect the state of your customer, so that they're not in the state of, oh, I'm with my accountant, or they're not in the state of, I'm price conscious or price sensitive.
Okay.
What are those variables you actually can affect?
I got a couple ideas.
Yeah, those would be
So
interesting.
now I think that's probably a topic for a whole episode.
Yes.
So we could
But
probably
it just
wrap
made me
it up.
think about
Well,
that.
how long have we been on?
We've been on for 28 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a gentleman by the name of Dan Sullivan
Okay.
who's got I don't know the name of his book. I think it might be called the Dan Sullivan Question.
Okay.
And the Dan Sullivan Question says, if you and I were sitting in a cafe 3 years from now, happy and talking about the progress that we have made,
Yes.
and you're ecstatic, what would have happened in those 3 years for you to feel that way? Right? That's the Dan Sullivan question.
Yeah.
It's called the desired future state.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to sort of transport the client's mind into a future that looks better than the present, and get them to tell you what are the things that that would have happened to make them feel that way, and they're basically laying out the entire roadmap
Right.
of what they want from you.
Right.
But if the word imagine is actually one of the most powerful words. You know this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because I'm sure in your lectures and your stuff, you use the word imagine, or close your eyes and imagine, so people can basically almost transport, even for the smallest, to another place or another state of mind. So if you tell people, imagine how you want to feel in 3 years after you and I have kicked ass, right, and have developed this great thing or made your business better, what exactly would have happened?
Yeah.
And get them to tell you, oh yeah, that's going to be when our business hits $1 million, when we move to a bigger office, when I finally have an employee to delegate everything to, when you have everything taken care of so I don't have to think about it, I'm dealing with customers and I'm calling you and you have the numbers, and lease or buy, whatever, you can answer, whatever that future desired state the client tells you verbatim. If you can transport them or get them to say that, they're temporarily in that
An elated state.
in the elated state.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's the time to hit them with a big price.
But that,
I mean, why not?
No, why not? And actually, that is a method in public speaking. That is
Yes.
a method. I actually do that when I preach at my church once a month.
Yeah.
And I actually almost a lot of sermons I either start off with imagine or remember. Like
Right.
this past, one of the past ones I did was I said remember the best friendships you've ever had.
Right.
How did you feel in those
Right.
friendships?
Remember, and how do you feel?
Yeah, what emotions come up, right?
Right.
So when you're just asking the customer to say, imagine the best outcome in 1 year, 3 years, 6 months from now. What does it look like?
Right.
And how do you imagine us helping you with that state?
Right.
Helping us get there.
Right.
Well, I want you to do this and this. Great. And then
Right.
and like you said, like now the next question is, what if I could get you there?
Right. Wait, if I can get you that right.
How would that make you feel, or what would you be willing to pay? Sometimes you can ask that question. What's the budget for that?
No, I think
in your mind, what
I
is
actually
the
think
budget
it's a
for
better question.
Yeah,
a better
yeah.
question to say, when they say that desired future state
Yeah.
is, I am making $1 million a year.
There you go.
Then you can say, if I help you get there, you think 20% of that would be fair?
Right.
So if my bill is $200,000 in the next 5 years, and I can get you there
to $1 million.
is that fair?
Right.
What they're always gonna say? What?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. 20%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden
you have your price.
you know exactly. Well, at least you know
Yeah.
It's called the hypothetical. What is it called? Blair Enns, the author of a book called Pricing Creativity, calls it the hypothetical ceiling.
Yes.
Right. You have all of a sudden went what you thought was maybe $500 a month, $1,000
Right.
a month, to hey, in 5 years I could charge $200,000.
Right.
Now, can I get him there?
Yeah, but it's a hypothetical scene because they're in this imagined state.
Yeah,
right? It's a hypothetical.
but at least you get them to talk about
Yes.
big numbers.
Yes.
Right. Instead of just trying to get them from the budget of $500 a month to $1,000 a month,
Yeah.
you're getting them to $200,000 in 5 years, which is what, $40,000 a year?
Yeah.
Which is $4,000 a month.
Yep.
Right. So for most people, if you start with budget, you start talking about this is how much we're going to charge.
So it's not the time
you
you want to throw a low number, right? You don't.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem is if you're not talking about the desired outcome,
Right.
you're talking about a cost.
Yes.
If you're talking about a desired outcome, you're talking about a proportion of the outcome. That's partnership, right? Because if I'm only taking 20% to help you make $1 million,
Yes.
that's the best possible partner you can think of.
Oh yeah.
'Cause most partners will take 50.
Right. No, I think that's great. You just gave me now the few questions to have to give my sales guy to
Right.
start. Hey, are you asking these questions? Because
Right.
this is going to help us increase our price and increase the value that the customer believes we're giving. And I
Right.
believe we can also, and I think you can also now do this to your employees with your team. You can have the same question go around, again, this is what the customer said, here's the value we want to give them. How do we deliver that?
Right.
What can we do? Imagine the different ways we can actually create our processes or create our company to actually deliver that kind of value
Correct.
to our customers. Because oftentimes employees will say, "Wow, you promised that? Like,
Right.
you think we can do that?" Well, yeah, I think we can do that for
But
this amount.
you don't have to promise it. I think you can set up a contract in such a way that you charge sort of a base fee
Correct,
for the
right.
base work, and then a contingent fee
For the
on-
outcomes.
on the outcome,
Yeah,
right?
on the outcomes,
right.
yeah.
Right. But even if there's not a contingent fee, what I'm saying is, as long as you get people to talk about the potentiality of
Yeah.
paying you $4,000 a month versus $500,
Right.
it sets up the conversation differently.
Yeah, no, that's really.
Now
really
it's
great.
harder. It's more liability for us.
Yeah.
It's a bigger commitment. But we went into business to be entrepreneurs, not to be accountant. I mean, yes, accounting is. We should not be in business to be accountants. We should be in business to entrepreneurs that happen to be good at accounting.
Right. That's the service we're providing.
Right. That happens to be
Right.
our craft.
Right.
That happens to be what we're good at.
And if we had a better way to serve our customers, we would probably just do that instead.
Right.
And charge them for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Correct.
So, you think this trip has been worth it, Canada? Would you recommend that to
Yeah.
your
So
viewers?
first of all, Canada, it's a beautiful country.
Yes. Yeah.
And big.
Yeah.
It's big.
You started all the way in Toronto.
Yeah,
And then you went
it's-
all the way across. So
it's-
you pretty
It's
pretty
big,
hard.
and most of it is farmland.
Yes.
Other than Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal, everything has been farmland. So that's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's pretty incredible how much. Like, I'm a city guy,
Yeah.
so how much non-city people are out there.
Yes.
And their lifestyle is much different. And
Oh,
it's slower. And
Yeah.
the supermarkets have less variety out there.
Well, and
You know?
one of the funny things I learned about Canada years ago when I was doing a trip across it for some work, I noticed no matter how small the town was, I followed a gas pipeline across Canada, and it hit every little town because of the software system that was being installed to manage this gas pipeline. And so every little town I'd go, we'd go to the office of the gas company, and then we'd ask, okay, so where should we go eat lunch? And every single, no matter how small it was, had 2 Chinese restaurants. Every town.
Dude, there's a
had
lot
2.
of Asians in Canada.
There's a lot of Asians in Canada.
lot of Asians in Canada.
And Canadians love Chinese food. I know that it's just really, really funny to me.
I think everybody
It is-
likes Chinese.
I know everybody does. I just found it funny that no matter what the town was, well, where can we go for lunch? Well, we can go to this Chinese restaurant or this Chinese restaurant. I went, wait, do you only have Chinese restaurants?
That's true.
in
There
this
was
town?
Chinese restaurants everywhere.
Isn't that
And my
funny?
wife doesn't eat a lot of Asian, and we were yelping, where should we eat? And she was like, the first 15 choices were something Asian or Chinese, and it's like, oh God,
It's so funny.
She's like, I get Chinese over there. I don't know.
Right. It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great.
Yeah,
Hector.
man.
Yeah.
It was
We
great.
got to hang out more. We'll get to see each other at QuickBooks Connect.
Yeah,
this year.
we'll do more videos of QuickBooks Connect.
Yep. And I hoey hope you have a great rest of the trip with your family.
You too, brother.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
See you
We'll
around.
talk
man.
soon. Yeah.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys. Bye.